The fundamental achievement of the third plenum was really the integration of all of the different reforms, because each one has its own element and its own importance in its own right. And we could say one is more important than the other. Generally, the market playing a decisive role people talk about as the most important. But I don't necessarily agree with that. I think the collective is what's important, that at this one time, in such a short time, leadership under President Xi was able to institute all of these reforms in a coherent manner. That's the big achievement, and to put that policy into effect. Obviously, it's one thing to formulate and much more difficult to implement, and the implementation will take years. But to get agreement that all of these policies will work together is really a remarkable achievement in a short period of time. The challenge today is it's so complicated in a modern society that it is a very different world. And so the complexity of all these different factors that have to be articulated together, because each one has its own elements to it and how they work together and the challenges. I mean, that's the hard part. So the great achievement is the collective of all these different kinds of reforms, from the economic and the financial model to rural land reform, the judicial independence from the local level, anti-corruption. I mean, all of these things work together, and putting them all in one package was the great achievement. And then when they saw the reality, I think most people are very pleased. Everybody recognizes it's going to take time. These are just policy directives. They're not concrete results. But what is important is that leadership of China now, under President Xi, has now gone on public record as saying, here's what we want to do. So there's a standard against which they will be judged. And so the people will be able to see their achievements over the next 4 years until the 19th Party Congress, and then until the 20th Party Congress, and can judge what has happened versus what they promised. And I think that's an important step in the leadership of China and the party, of being under the guidance of the people. And so the people are taking an oversight role of the party and the leaders, because the leaders are now publicizing what they want to achieve, so the public will be able to assess that in the future. I think the Chinese dream is an overarching concept that is the natural result of the political theory that started with the Deng Xiaoping theory, changing the economic model from ideological struggle to economic development. And then Jiang Zemin's Sangha Daibiao, Three Represents, talked about advanced knowledge and culture for the interest of the overwhelming majority of the people, which really modernized the party's thinking about, became more specific. And then former President Hu Jintao's Guan scientific development principle, which took all the different needs of society and balanced them because society was getting more complicated. So all of those were means to achieve, in essence, the Chinese dream. So under President Xi Jinping, after these 35 years of political theory being developed, now the Chinese dream is sort of the goal of which these other things were leading up to. But there's a great deal more in the Chinese dream, that the previous political ideas were ways to achieve it. The Chinese dream now has a lot of specific goals in it that those mechanisms will need to go forth. And indeed, the specific results of the third plenary are both the content of the Chinese dream and the process by which to achieve it. So it is a big step forward, but it is more goal setting, a formulation of policy, than an implementation. Implementation is always more difficult than formulation. But the fact that it is formulating it, it's saying that here are the ways to achieve the Chinese dream, and everybody will work very hard over the next years and decades to achieve it.